This is Rummy's Corner. We are in mid-August 2023, and frankly, there hasn't been a whole lot of action among heavyweights this year. To date, there hasn't been a single heavyweight championship fight all year, with the first and perhaps only championship fight of the year scheduled for August 26th, when Alexander Usyk puts his unified IBF WBA WBO heavyweight championship on the line against Daniel Dubois. Meanwhile, Tyson Fury is the reigning WBC champion, and he is scheduled to face former UFC champion Francis Ngannou in a professional boxing match in a non-title bout. Neither of these fights represents something that die-hard heavyweight boxing fans are inclined to get overly fired up about. Meanwhile, former WBC champion Deontay Wilder has not had a fight since last October when he stopped Robert Helenius in round 1. And then former unified champion Andy Ruiz Jr. has not had a fight since September of last year. The activity level among top heavyweights this year has simply been awful. The only truly significant fight that took place between two legit top 10 guys was when Big Bang Zhang scored the impressive upset stoppage against Joe Joyce back in April of this year. And to their credit, these two are scheduled to have a rematch on September 23rd. So big credit to those two for at least showing a willingness to mix it up against other top heavyweights. Meanwhile, former two-time unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua has fought and won twice this year, but despite the former champion trying to get his career back on track, and despite being victorious both times, Anthony Joshua is being hit with a lot of criticism. This is not new. Criticisms of Anthony Joshua have been somewhat widespread ever since his first reign ended at the hands of Andy Ruiz Jr. And the common complaints are that AJ no longer has any heart, he's safety first and afraid to take risks, he totally lacks killer instinct, and he no longer exudes the type of confidence and self-belief that enabled him to become champion to begin with. Last weekend, AJ was supposed to have a rematch against Dillian Whyte, but after Whyte reportedly tested positive for a banned substance, the Nordic nightmare Robert Helenius stepped in as a late replacement. It was an unusual situation, because Helenius had just fought the previous weekend, winning a fight inside a medieval castle in Finland. Helenius had seemingly had his last big chance opportunity back in October when he lost against Wilder, and inevitable comparisons regarding how Wilder and AJ respectively fared against Helenius were inherently built into the very short build-up for this fight, especially with so many rumors floating around that we might finally get a long overdue showdown between these two former heavyweight champions in the foreseeable, if not immediate future. AJ took care of business against Helenius. He did what he had to do. Early on, the difference in speed and agility clearly favored Joshua. All the same, Helenius fought intelligently and kept things competitive. For the most part, it was a boxing match defined by a battle of jabs. AJ was generally doing well but never truly seized momentum. And for his part, Helenius proved formidable and certainly had spots where he was being effective and providing AJ with a true stylistic challenge. The criticisms around AJ's performance all circle back to the aforementioned. He was looking gun-shy and unable or unwilling to open up with the type of combination punching that he was known for up until his first reign ended. But in the end, AJ's superior condition ultimately won the day, and he was able to finally exploit an opening to drill Helenius with a mean right hand, which ended matters in round 7. So it took AJ 7 rounds to beat the man that Wilder beat in 1 round, and I see a lot of fans citing this as a reason why AJ has no chance against Wilder. But their respective performances against Helenius don't really tell us anything about how a Wilder versus Joshua showdown might play out, at least not in my mind. It tells us nothing more about how they match up style-wise than any of their other common opponents, which include guys like Eric Molina, Dominic Breazeale, and Jason Gavin. The bottom line here is I don't think this makes a world of difference. Wilder stopped Helenius earlier than Joshua did, but in the end they both stopped him, just like they won inside the distance against their other common opponents. The big takeaway for AJ following his win against Helenius, especially if it does indeed lead to a big-time showdown against Wilder in the foreseeable future, it all circles back to the lethargic state of the heavyweight landscape. The mere fact that AJ has been active is a good thing. A damn good thing. So he hasn't exactly beaten the elite on his 2-fight winning streak. But in the context of where he is in his career right now, I think he's on the right path. After suffering 2 ego-deflating losses back-to-back against Usyk, AJ was in no state to bounce back against the top contender. He paired up with new trainer Derek James, and he won what I thought was an efficient and workmanlike effort against Jermaine Franklin. Despite winning decisively without much difficulty, or the need to really take things into a higher gear, AJ was widely criticized for never turning up the heat and for not stopping Franklin, whose only previous loss was a somewhat disputed majority decision loss against the aforementioned Dillian Whyte. The normal criticisms followed: gun-shy, unwilling to take risks, and lacking confidence. This time around, Joshua did finish the job against Helenius, but the same type of complaints remain fairly widespread: gun-shy, unwilling to take risks, and lacking in confidence. And in fairness, I think there is evidence that these criticisms perhaps hold a strong element of truth. But the fact remains, since twice being bested by Alexander Usyk, AJ is on the right path, making the transition with his new trainer as he fine-tunes his style, and he has one clear 12-round unanimous decision and scored an impressive highlight reel knockout, gaining both experience and confidence as he builds towards his next big test, presumably in Wilder. If AJ really lacked heart the way his loudest critics claim, then he could have easily cashed out after the Usyk rematch. Or indeed, he could have walked away from boxing altogether, where I'm certain his celebrity status will afford him new, interesting, and less dangerous opportunities in life after boxing. The bottom line for me is if AJ was going to have any chance against Wilder, he is on the right path, and a path is formed by laying one stone at a time. Now that doesn't mean this path will conclude in some fairy tale ending. There are no guarantees whatsoever that Joshua can or will beat Wilder. But if he's going to beat Wilder, I like his chances better now after consecutive victories against Franklin and Helenius than I did immediately after losing against Usyk. I think the experience points Joshua has gained under the guidance of Derek James are valuable. And with a couple of fights under his belt, I think he's begun to rebuild in a way that will provide him his best chance against Wilder. I honestly like the way Joshua reacted to his corner advice, and I think those 19 rounds for AJ this year served a real purpose. I have to believe Wilder's team has some concern over the fact Wilder has fought less than one professional round since suffering back-to-back losses against Fury. By October of this year, that means Wilder will have fought less than one round in the past 2 years. And that's a long stretch of inactivity for a heavyweight who will turn 38 in October. But as they say, power is the last thing to go. And despite his lack of technical aptitude, Wilder has always been effective in finding ways to deliver that nuclear power, having stopped or dropped every man he faced as a professional, including the only man to ever beat him, where he dropped Tyson Fury 4 times, officially drawing once and getting stopped twice. So maybe Wilder not being as active isn't as big a deal in this matchup because he possesses that game-changing power and corresponding confidence that comes with it. The Helenius comparisons may add an interesting talking point for fans interested in a Wilder-Joshua showdown, but it doesn't tell us anything we did not already know. Wilder is the more powerful and more confident, whereas AJ is higher skilled and a more complete boxer. Indeed, the results they had against Helenius are identical to the results they had against Brazil. Wilder stopped him in round 1, and Joshua stopped him in round 7. But the comparisons mean nothing, because what this boils down to is simple. Will Wilder find a way to deliver his nuclear power against Joshua? Or will AJ neutralize his power and/or find a way to deliver his own power first? At the end of the day, AJ is younger and more active, boxing more rounds, but questions surrounding his confidence and self-belief represent a real question mark. Wilder is older and more inactive, having not boxed in nearly a year, but his power and determination are beyond reproach. For me, it still provides one of the most intriguing matches that can be made in the heavyweight division today, and I for one hope we finally get the chance to see it. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed, and have a wonderful night. This is Rummy's Corner.